He still did action, but he still made dua. There's a balance between dua and action. And so, you do that, you do the sa'i, you run between the two. And then you shave off your hair, you cut your hair. Now, that is the aspect of Medina, of Mecca. Then, inshallah, we'll be wrapping up soon. Inshallah, I know it's one of the goals is, inshallah, this is going to be recorded that you can go back to and listen to later. When you think of Medina, you think of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So between Makkah, you think of what was happening in Makkah? Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq. This is when revelation happened. So Makkah, you think of, when I go on this journey to Umrah or Hajj, I need to connect and rekindle my relationship with the Quran. And when you go to Medina, you have to think to yourself, I need to rekindle my relationship with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And both of these things will rekindle and affect your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so in your mindset, you have, okay, I'm going to go through the Quran. And every year we should all be going through the Quran. It doesn't have to be detailed tafsir, but you just go through it. One lesson from every surah. One lecture from every surah, whatever you can. Every year we should go from the seerah beginning to end Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And if you do this every single year you do this, you're going to learn something different that you didn't learn the previous year. And if you do this for 10, 20, 30 years, your connection to the Quran is going to get deeper and deeper, and your connection to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is going to get deeper and deeper, so much so that your final year of your life, you're going to be the closest to these two things. And inshallah, you're going to be the closest to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he never met us, but he always worried about us. He made dua for us. He made dua for us, and he worried for us. Sometimes they would say the breathing of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was heavy when he slept. The wives of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam would tell us this type of breathing where somebody just worked very hard throughout the day. He would serve the people throughout the day, make dua for them, teach them, and he would worship Allah throughout the night. There was this balance of his relationship with Allah and relationship with people. He sallallahu alaihi wasallam says in the hadith, my example, an example of of us, the people, is like a man who made a fire, and when it is lit, the moths and the insects around it run and rush to that fire and they're falling into it. And I am there trying to hold people back, trying to stop them from going to the fire. So much so that he's grabbing you by the belt and the waist and holding you back. This is just the concern and effort of Rasulullah on us every single moment of his life. And so when you go, you are connecting to Rasulullah and you're increasing in salam of Rasulullah. When you say salam, you should be doing it now, and when you go and you come back, it's an increase of doing the salam. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali Sayyidina Muhammad wa barak wa sallam, saying it every day, especially if you're saying it on Jum'ah. It is one of the greatest acts of worship you can do, and one of the greatest du'as you can make. One of the ways we show and express our love for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And when you make salam al Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you're actually fulfilling a command of Allah. Every week the Khatib, he says, Inna Allah wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala nabi. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu taslima. It is a commandment of Allah. And we say, Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. When you say salam on Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says, whoever sends blessings on me once, who says salams on me once, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blesses him with 10 rewards. And erases 10 evil deeds. And increases him by 10 degrees. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions his name in a better gathering of angels. In another hadith, Rasulullah says, the closest people to me on the day of judgment will be of those who send the most salam upon me. And I want you to think about this, for example. When you go to Medina, when you go to the Rawdah, when you go to visit the grave of Rasulullah, when you say salam here, Rasulullah tells us that there are angels that roam the earth whose only job is to take your salam and to give it to him. And he sallallahu actually responds. But when you're physically there, it is the closest distance you're going to have between you and Rasulullah in this life. You're only a few feet away from him. And in that moment, you need to make dua to Allah. Ya Allah, just like I'm close to him in this life, Ya Allah, make me close to him in the hereafter. When you listen to the adhan, Rasulullah tells us you should repeat after them. So that Muaddin says Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, you say Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Except when he says Hayya ala salah, Hayya ala salah, Hayya al falah, Hayya al falah. Come to success, you say La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. You have no control. You are not the one that controls if you can go to the success. So you say Allah is the most powerful. And then Rasulullah says that a person who recites his dua, Allahumma rabba hadhihi da'wat al-tamma wa salat al-qa'ima ati Muhammadin al-wasila wal-fadila wa ba'athu maqama mahmud li du'ata innaka la tukhlifu al-mi'ad. You're making dua, oh Allah, grant Rasulullah this status, this ability to intercede on us. And oh Allah, you're the one who always fulfills your promise. When you make this dua, you make it a habit to make the dua. Rasulullah says that person will get my intercession on the day of judgment. And so when you're there, and every single adhan, you're thinking about that. Every single adhan, you're reciting it, and you're thinking about making dua, oh Allah, on the day of judgment, make me of those who Rasulullah intercede. And when you come back for Umrah, it is something you do every single day and every single masjid. When you come to the salah. On the day of judgment, the concept of intercession is very important. All of humanity will be on the same plane, waiting for the judgment to start, and they cannot handle it. Just like you have a big exam. Imagine you have an exam, and the teacher is about to announce who failed who failed the exam or not. If you fail the exam, you actually fail out of the program. You fail out of college. And everyone's waiting for the results. They're not sure. Or let's say that you're applying for a job and you're really in this job. Your bills depend on it. Your life depends on it. And you're waiting for the response, and you can't take it anymore. All of humanity will be in this moment of anxiety, of uneasiness, and they'll go to Adam alayhi salam and they'll plead him, please ask Allah to start the record. And they'll go to Adam alayhi salam, and Nuh alayhi salam, Musa alayhi salam, Ibrahim alayhi salam. They'll go to every prophet, and every prophet will say, you know what, I can't help you today. They'll mention something that they did, a sin that they did, or they'll be shy, or they'll be scared of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so angry that day. They'll say, you know what, go to the next person. And so all of humanity is going to go from one person to the next person to the next person. And then they'll go to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, I will help. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam will go to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and will go to sujood. And will make the dua and praise to Allah that he's never said before. Allah will teach him certain praises that no one has ever heard before. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will tell Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to get up and ask, what is it that you need? And even in that moment, Rasulullah just can say, Ya Allah, please start the reckoning. But even after the reckoning is started, the people thrown in hellfire, Ya Allah, please get them out of the hellfire. And Allah subhanahu will say, okay, 70,000, go. Take them out without any reckoning. Rasulullah will go and take these people out. And then Rasulullah will say, Ya Allah, please, can I have some more? Can I take more people out? And then Allah says, okay, for every 70,000 people, another 1,000 people. And so constantly, Rasulullah on that day is going back and forth, interceding. In this life, he was worried about us. Even in the next life, he's worried about us. Anas radiallahu anhu one time went to Rasulullah and he asked him, Ya Rasulullah, where can I find you on the day of judgment? So you can intercede for me. And Rasulullah said, look for me at the Mizan, look for me at the Sirat, and look for me at the Hawd. I will not be missed in these three locations. And so in every stage of the Akhirah on the Day of Judgment, Rasulullah is there running back and forth, pleading for us, asking for us. Asking, Ya Rabb, enter more people into Jannah. And you have to understand, Rasulullah is not the only person who will intercede. The Shuhada will also intercede on behalf of their families. You know, the martyrs in Islam, they were taken away from their family in this life, and in the hereafter, they're going to be rejoined in the Akhirah. The awliya, the devout worshippers of Allah, will intercede on behalf of you. In one narration, Rasulullah says that more than the tribe of Banu Tamim, which was a huge tribe, will be interceded for on behalf of one person. We don't know exactly what that person was, but the whole concept was that there are going to be people interceding for you. Even the children on the Day of Judgment. The children who were taken away, who died before puberty, before becoming mature. Allah will tell those children, enter Jannah. Udkhulul Jannah, enter all of you into paradise. And what will these children say? Ya Allah, our parents. And these children will plead to Allah, and Allah will say, okay, you and your parents enter Jannah. These children will bring their parents. And even Rasulullah said that even the case for a miscarried fetus, Rasulullah said, by Allah, the miscarried fetus will be pulling its mother into paradise with an umbilical cord. Some people, you're given the blessing of children in this life, and when you work hard, you make dua for them, you struggle with them. That maybe one day that they'll make dua for you, that their good deeds will help you get into Jannah. And other people, Allah sends their kids ahead of time, and they wait for them at the gates of paradise. They wait for them at the gates of paradise. Those that have miscarriages, those that have lost their kids, one of the hardest tests. And realize Rasulullah, he lost so many of his children. We don't realize that. He was an orphan himself, and he lost so many of his kids. And so when you go to Medina, this concept, this idea, Ya Allah, this closest to Rasulullah, the remembrance of his life, the connection you have to him. And then you ask Allah to bring you close in this life and bring you close to him in the hereafter. And so I conclude that this journey to Umrah, this journey to Hajj, there's a lot of deep spiritual aspects and reflections that we need to have. The logistics we can finally take care of, the fiqh we can learn, we can print it out. But the very important aspect of all this is the heart. You cannot print out a dua list and just be reading off of it in dua, which is fine. You should read du'as from the Quran and Sunnah. But more important than just reading off a list is the dua from the heart. The crying of the heart. The things that you need. And so I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for all of us to have an accepted Hajj and Umrah. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to be of those who are constantly visiting Mecca and Medina. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to be of those who are connected to the Quran, connected to the Prophet, and connected to Allah. عباد الله رحمكم الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك سبحان الذي رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. جزاك الله خير for being here. Inshallah, may Allah accept you sitting here. And inshallah, if you need anything from me, make dua for me. Inshallah, I'm going next week. Make dua for everyone here. This MCMC. There's a lot of people going next week. And may Allah make all of you go as well. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.